So I think one of the most important things to remember is that we do have an immune system, and that's, thank you Elaine for going through that. It's an incredibly complex system. There's so many cells that Elaine has touched on, but then that's just scratching the surface of our natural immunity. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed over the last year and a half is that nobody's talking about natural immunity, and none of the authorities are talking about it. Nobody seems to want that information given out to the general public, and certainly given that this tends to be a bit of a political game that they're playing, natural immunity isn't going to bring a lot of revenue to state governments, if I may. So it's a reminder that you do have this incredible immune system, and you've had it for however old you are, you've had it for that long in your life, and you've survived, as Elaine said. Plus, for the depending upon your religious background, either thousands or potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of years, whichever way you want to look at it, people have survived. So we can continue to survive given the right information and the right stuff going into our bodies. So, breaking it down on a really simple level, it's remember the easy things. And if we go back to Hippocrates' time, the father of all medicine, he spoke about clean air. And, we may or may not have that, but that's certainly getting out into the fresh air and going to the beach and surrounding yourself with the trees and getting those negative ions and rebalancing your cells and helping your cells to detoxify. If you can't get to the beach or the up to Mount Tambourine or somewhere like that, then and you do use essential oils, you can diffuse the tree oils. So the firs, the Douglas firs and the Siberian firs and all of the pine type smelling essential oils, they're really good for rebalancing our cells and also picking up our mood. So that's a really important one. Elaine mentioned sunshine, and sunshine's a big one. We're lucky, we do get a lot of sun up here, but we're also terrified of it because of the risk of getting burnt with skin cancer. And as Elaine said, we have, there's 2 places in the world that have the highest melanoma numbers, and we're one of them. But I'm going to remind you that one of the reasons our melanoma numbers have gone up in recent years is because we're not getting enough sun, and if we are going out in the sun, we're slapping chemicals all over our body first to protect ourselves from getting burned, but not realising that chemical reaction on our skin. Remember, Elaine went through the steps, the sun, the cholesterol, the skin, and then the travelling through the bloodstream to, to the liver for activation and then the kidneys. Well, if you put chemicals into that, what have you changed? And so, again, natural is best. So getting your vitamin D levels, and I say top them up, no matter what, even if you're getting out into the sun, and 10% probably isn't enough of your skin to be out there. The best information, they say, is strip naked. Get out, strip naked, but you might get arrested.
You might give your neighbour a medical condition. You
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, that's right.
What about the sun through glass, a glass window?
Some windows.
Yeah, some windows have UV protection, don't they? And,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, you can. You can. Yeah.
Also, there's information to say that going out into the sun in the times of the day that they tell us to is not the time we're meant to. So they tell us to go out first thing in the morning when the angle of the sun is, and then last thing in the afternoon, again when the angle of the sun is quite extreme. But that changes the UV ray, and that increases your risk of cancers. So going out in the middle of the day, the research shows that going out in the middle of the day, the hottest time, the time that you're most likely to burn for less time, is better for you because it's a different angle, different UV ray. So something to consider. But like Elaine said, how many of us get enough time to get out in the sun if you're working and if you're hiding just hiding from the world generally. So air and sun, that's a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Also, being happy. So decreasing your stress levels is a really important thing. And at the moment, I think we've had, probably the most stressful period in modern history in the last, over 18 months now, where we've been told we're going to die. You're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die. Right, that's literally what
That's the news every day, isn't it? That's the news.
Risk factors, everything that I listen to, the podcasts, the research, the everyone that I'm looking at around the world, they say that really the risk of dying from the big C, which is no longer cancer, is the risk of not dying is 99.9.
Depending on your age.
That's right.
Yeah.
But if you're over 80, then the risk goes up enormously. And if you have comorbidities, which we're all very aware of, so if there's something else going on in your body, and that's something to consider. But stress.
Yeah.
Stress increases inflammation in our bodies, it decreases our immune system, and it's a fantastic way of depleting the immunity of the population of the world. So somehow if you can do things that actually turn off the TV and you're not listening to mainstream media, and basically you have to walk around a little bit with blinkers on, because everywhere you look now. I saw a child yesterday, I don't even know where I was, but the child was this high wearing a mask. So the younger you are, the less chance you have of catching any virus that would be fatal. So you can still catch things, but the fatality rate is what they're talking about with age. So I look around the room and I see, pretty much everyone's going to be still in the safe range, unless you're over 80, and none of you look that way. And if you are over 80, well done. Well done, that's awesome. Exercise, really important, as Elaine said, and that's the other thing, that they close the gyms and they close, sporting facilities and groups, and they've done everything they can to keep us isolated away from people, but we can walk. And if you have a dog, I know it's looked after. So walk your dog, and get out there and do what the dog does. The dog is going along and enjoying life. That's right, go and pee everywhere. Walk around naked and get your vitamin D. But they're sniffing the air, and I'm constantly looking at my dog, and she's just interested in the world and interested in and an ant and look at the pretty butterfly, and there's a flower, and it's remembering the simple things that bring nature back to us and bring us that sense of peace. So of course that takes me to breathing, back to the fresh air and the breathing. And Wim Hof, if you look up Wim Hof, WIMHOFF, is it?
I think so.
I don't know, Google will tell you. He is the guy that teaches breathing, and just a deep breathing. He's done some incredible things. He's the guy, you might watch a couple of his videos and think, wow, this guy's cuckoo, because he'll strip down to his bathers and go and walk into, the frozen waters of, the northern hemisphere, and swim for half an hour. Or lay on the snow, in nothing but a pair of shorts. So he controls his metabolism and his health through breathing. There's an experiment they did with him in a hospital somewhere over in Europe, and they injected an endotoxin into his body that would normally cause headaches and diarrhea, vomiting, and violent cramps, etc. in the everyday mortal. He started to get a slight headache, and then he just went straight into this meditative breathing thing that he does. No symptoms, no side effects, no nothing. So and then they said, well, if you can do it, you're just abnormal. So he got a group together, taught them how to breathe, and then they did the same to them in a hospital environment. So You can watch this if you have access to a series called Transcendence. It's on Gaia. Gaia is a like Stan but healthy, like Netflix but healthy. The Transcendence series has Wim Hof on it talking about these experiments, but you can probably Google them until YouTube censors it. Just thought I'd throw that in as well. Okay, so exercise, healthy eating, and that's something I've got in my handout, and I'll start going through that with you now. So fresh is best. So let's talk about that. What you have in front of you is just a very small. I kind of smushed it all in as much as I could. It's 20 years of naturopathy on 2 pages. And basically, it's a reminder that the body is built to heal itself. That's how we've survived, and it doesn't matter what the illness is or what the problem is. If you give it the right fuel, the body will heal it. That's what it does. And so it's geared for that. You can't cure one thing and leave 10 others. If there's some health challenges going on for you, when you change your diet, you give your body the right nutrients, everything heals, not just one thing. So that's a little bit of power for you to remember. To boost our immune systems, looking after our diet is a really important thing. So Elaine mentioned garlic and onions, and so I started this with garlic and onions, and I've got some of the actions there. We'll send you the bigger copy of this, because I know that's small. We'll send you the PDF. But garlic and onions, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, sulfur-containing. Sulfur supports the liver. The liver helps us to detoxify. It also helps to reduce inflammation. So in consideration that we're talking about an immune response that leads to inflammation, a cytokine storm, food is still medicine. So with Elaine's cautions there, garlic and onions, they do affect the bloodstream in a very positive way. But if you're on blood thinning medications or you are having surgery, you might want to lay off. But eat them every day if you can. If you can tolerate it, eat it every day. And I used to work in a health food store for many years, and we used to sell so much of the Kyolic brand garlic, aged garlic. It's sold out for a reason. So, but you can, throw it in things and, put it in stews, put it in your roast, put it in your homemade salad dressing, put it on your stir fry. That's a fantastic way to get garlic into you. My dog, 13-and-a-half-year-old husky, eats garlic every day because her favourite food now is my roast chicken, homemade roast chicken with lemon and garlic. Yeah. So that's what she wants. That's what she gets with vegetables. Feeding her other things, she'll generally walk away. So she's loving that. That's fine by
she's
me.
13.
Yeah, she's 13-and-a-half. That's right.
Yeah.
She's the old girl.
Garlic capsules, what are they worth? Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you can't eat the food, take the supplement. Absolutely. They do boost your immune system, but remember that I call them all the antis. So, and I'm not talking about my auntie and uncle. I'm talking about all the antis. Antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial. Anything that is, is working like that is great. Now, if you are going to choose to have the current medication put into your body, then I say eat more garlic and onions because of the anti-clotting effect of garlic and onions. So, as a protective measure, you want as much as you can get into your body to thin the blood. Do I know if that works? No, because nobody's doing the science. And if they were, we wouldn't know about it.
I asked my doctor, I have varicose veins and pretty terrible circulation.
Yeah.
And I said, would I be more prone to get the clot if I had the AstraZeneca? And she said, no, it doesn't work like that.
They don't know. They just don't know.
And I said, is there some sort of test? Because she said, oh no, it's more about the platelets. And I said, well, is there some sort of test you can get to see if that's going to happen to you? And she said, no. So,
Look, the answer is they don't know. They have to say something. They don't know. They can't know because they're not being told.
They're also not allowed to say
Yeah,
anything.
that's
It's actually
right.
become illegal for
Yeah.
doctors to say anything.
They're under a heap of scrutiny, and the ones that are speaking up are losing their jobs.
Yeah, they're on 6 months sort of probation.
Yeah.
Doctors used to be there to help you, weren't they? They help your health,
Yeah.
make sure you didn't get sick.
But I feel sorry for the doctors
Yes,
because a lot of them are having to function in a way they don't want to.
Of course.
So
They have indemnity though.
no,
No,
I have several patients who have been told, do not get the vaccine. We highly recommend you do not get it, but I will not put it in writing because then I will be on a blacklist.
Yeah. And that's
But you're right, the doctors won't get sold if you
If you
have
get the
a reaction to the vaccine.
Yeah.
And the vaccine companies also can't be sold.
No.
And in this country compared to America, they don't actually have a vaccine court that helps you. So each one is an individual fight. Whereas in America, they've got, billions of dollars put aside
But they still have
through the
that.
vaccine court.
But they also don't have indemnity if they say
Yes,
don't
yeah.
have the vaccine. That's what I'm
Yeah.
meaning as
Yes.
well. Like they're
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
stuck in a hard place, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they also believe that vaccines are good and effective, except they do know that this one has a 50% adverse reaction. But it's better than dying of COVID. So they're so centered on if you get COVID, it's far worse than the vaccine.
That's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
But not all doctors.
No.
There are a cohort
No,
that
but they,
Yeah, but
are
that
laying low because
they're laying low.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're not
that's
allowed to say
right. Yeah,
something other than the narrative they've been told.
that's right. Yeah.
My doctor said if you get it, come and see me and I'll fix you up.
He's an
They
integrated
wouldn't
doctor.
give us ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. We asked him directly and he said, no, I won't give you those. He said, if you get the symptoms, come and see me and I'll fix you up.
that they get a massive fine if they.
Yeah,
That's right.
everybody said that. He said, it's not worth what,
He said, "Oh, there's one."
Look, I think the reality is it's a virus and we need to be prepared, whether it's, like Elaine said, whether it came from a lab, whether it came from a bat, or whether it's coming from the vaccine. The reality is we need to boost our immune system. So the list that I've got for you looks after your cardiovascular health.
I'm much better now. I've been taking vitamin E and
That's right,
that
yeah.
sort
So
of
all
fish oils.
your natural antioxidants and blood thinners. So vitamin C containing foods, I've got a list of them there. Remember, food is medicine, eat it. Yes, rely on supplements, yes, but first eat the food. First eat the food. But sometimes when we're stressed, we don't want to eat the food. Right? It's just like, oh, it's too hard, I'm too stressed. So, and that's why I say supplements are to supplement your diet, and do that anyway. Do that anyway. The question used to be, do we really need supplements? Should I take them? The answer now is just yes, because we're too stressed not to. And even if we're eating the best food on the planet, we're still too stressed.
And the food is depleted somewhat.
Yeah. So organic. So I've got vitamin C containing foods. Your frozen organic veggies, berries are the best. Berries tend to be the most sprayed with pesticides out of all the fruit. So if you can buy the frozen organic, they're usually snap frozen, and then you're going to have less chemical exposure, because we do have there are guidelines that the organic farmers, etc., have to follow what they can and can't use in farming. So if it says organic, if it's stamped organic, then there are rules that they're following so that you're not getting as many chemicals. And red, blue, black, purple, and Elaine said that, your bright colours, go for your bright colours. It doesn't matter which one you like or don't like, just choose the ones you do.
So, Elaine, can I ask you a good question? My dogs love blueberries.
Good.
And they'll eat as many as I give them.
Yeah,
Is that horrible?
they're expensive.
There was like 6 for one.
No, it's fine. Sometimes you'll get a bit of diarrhea if you have too much. But yeah, it's fine. If they're not getting diarrhea, it's fine. My little grandson went through phases. He'd eat like 2 punnets, and he's only 2, and he'd eat the whole lot and then another lot. But he's gone on to raspberries lately. He prefers the raspberries. Yeah, he's not eating the blueberries at the moment.
Well, so I've got the list there. Greens, Elaine went through the bitter greens. Anything that tastes kind of peppery to your mouth, put that into your diet, into your salad, into your stir fries, etc. That peppery sort of bitter taste enhances your digestive function, and the better your digestive function is, the more nutrients you're going to be absorbing, and therefore the healthier your body is going to be.
Is ordinary pepper good to put on your food?
As in black pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you crack it,
Yeah.
the powdered stuff, probably
No,
not as
really.
much, but cracked black pepper is really good. It's a bit of a liver stimulant as well, and it works well with the turmeric that Elaine was talking about before. So veggies, get as many in as possible, and colourful. Colourful is the answer. Not only will it make you happy when your eyes see it and you're looking at it and yummy, but you're getting a bigger range of nutrients, and so go with the colour. Fruit. Remember that fruit does contain sugar, so don't go bananas on fruit. There's nothing against bananas. I do like them. Speaking of bananas, for a prebiotic, if you like the slightly green bananas, then they have more of the prebiotic fibres and they will look after your gut. It's just whether you like them. Healthy fats and oils, cobram, olive oil.
I like the cobram.
Fantastic. It's the one that's guaranteed to be actual olive oil as well. Many of them have been adulterated with cheaper oils, so the more expensive brands and the ones that are organic are going to be pure olive oil, so that's something to consider.
I was just going to ask what you recommend as a cooking oil, because it's a minefield. Coconut oil, then it was avocado oil, and then no, avocado oil's no good. Should be olive oil. It's just like...
I think you're talking about the smoke point.
Yeah.
So if you listen to FX Medicine podcasts, there's a really good one on olive oil, and they've done research about that smoke point recently, and it's not true. You don't have to worry about the smoke point.
But apparently avocado oil is... You shouldn't use avocado oil.
I think if you're a decent cook, you're not going to burn your oil, and so that's the point. Just don't burn the oil. Ghee is also really good if you want to go back to the grass-fed fats and really looking after your healthy cholesterol and supporting healthy cell membranes and epithelial lining, brain health, all of that. Ghee's a good one. Even grass-fed butter, it's got a tiny little bit of dairy in it. They're pretty good too. So I just say don't burn it. These days, I used to have whole rules around it, and now I'm just like, just don't burn it. If you like the taste of it, eat it, because if you're smiling when you eat, then the food's better for you. You're going, ew, I'm using coconut oil and it's so healthy, but my potatoes taste like coconut. So it's like, so
Where's that butter?
That's right. So don't do that. The wild caught fish, the oily fish, that's important as well.
It's hard to get.
It is, yeah, and a lot of our fish in the supermarkets are farmed, and so if they're coming from sort of Australia and New Zealand and surrounds, then great. If they're coming from Norway, fantastic. But you're paying $1 million for them. So here's where I'm going to say you probably need a supplement.
I think Aldi well-caught salmon frozen.
Yeah.
Aldi,
yeah. Because any Australian salmon is farmed.
Yes.
So what they're doing in farming practices in the water is kind of insane. So fish probably shouldn't eat grains.
Will it say wild caught on it, or is it just double so wild?
Does
It does
Yeah.
say wild caught.
Yeah.
Costco have Alaskan salmon as well. Wild
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah.
It's
Convenient.
Yeah, it's convenient because you can just take your portions.
Yeah, exactly. And your omega-3s, just on that, anti-inflammatory, healthy cardiovascular and cognitive function. So looking after your brain at the moment is really important as well. A lot of people are talking about, their my memory's going, and you know, I can't think and all that. That's stress.
Yeah.
It's stress. So you're not necessarily losing your mind. I mean, maybe we are, but we're losing our minds because of the crazy.
But you're in good company.
Yeah, that's right. So just look after your brain with the healthy oils, and yeah, that's important. I've got some probiotic-rich foods there: the kimchi, sauerkrauts, quality yogurt. If you can tolerate dairy, then sure, eat it, but choose really good quality dairy. You know, again, it's the grass-fed moo cows that are going to have the healthiest yogurts that come from that. So I can't eat dairy, unfortunately, even though my taste buds love it. My body doesn't, so I go with a coconut yogurt. You can look up recipes online as well and make your own yogurts. That's pretty easy.
There's also a cold pressed milk out at the moment, which is close as you can get to raw milk.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very nice. It
Yeah.
makes a very lovely yogurt.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're
But you
into
don't-
making your own, I think that's great.
But you don't have to actually heat before you add the cultures.
Nice.
Yeah, which is I
Yeah.
think it's amazing.
Yes,
And
yeah.
speaking of adding cultures, thank you for that. You know, if you do have a probiotic in the fridge, then when you have yogurt, crack a probiotic into your yogurt just to, you know, increase. Yeah. If you don't have a probiotic in your fridge, get one.
And take them.
And take them. Yeah, they work much better when they're in your gob than they do in the jar. Protein, our bodies need protein. You know, really simple maths on having protein. If you're a visual, then the size of the palm of your hand and the thickness of the palm of your hand, so without the fingers, 3 times a day. That amount of protein will kind of cover your needs. Or about 1 gram of protein per kilo that you weigh. So there's a website that you can look up. It's called Calorie King. Don't look up the calories. That's a lot of rubbish. Always has been. But you can type in a food like chicken breast, for example, and it will tell you how much actual protein is in 100 grams of chicken breast, and you'll find it's probably around about the 26 grams of protein mark. So don't think that if you weigh something, that's how much protein you're getting. You're getting, in a tin of tuna, for example, a 95 gram tin of tuna, there's about 17 or 18 grams of protein. So 1 gram per kilo that you weigh will cover the amount of protein that you need for your body to repair itself and to help itself heal and thrive.
Can we just jump back
Yeah.
back to where it says not peanuts?
Oh, not peanuts. Peanuts are not nuts, they're legumes. So if you're going to have, sorry I missed the nuts and seeds, did I? If you're going to have nuts and seeds, then choose your high quality nuts, choose raw, because as soon as you roast things, you're changing the quality of the fat, might be a little bit rancid. So raw is best, unsalted obviously, but we'll talk about electrolytes and the importance of that as well. Peanuts are a legume. And they do contain a toxin. It's a fungus called aflatoxin. You know, they taste great, but they're not necessarily going to give you the same benefits of actual nuts.
Peanut butter's the same?
Yeah.
It's not stuff.
I know. Yeah. Elaine always invites me along so I can give the bad news. Coronavirus is not the problem, it's the peanuts. Yeah, look, everything in moderation, and the reality is if peanut butter is the worst thing you're having in your diet, then good on you. It tastes beautiful, but moderation. If you're going to eat your nuts for the actual health of the oils, then eat the other nuts.
Yeah, my nuts
Make
are a
nice
combined lot
nuts.
of nuts.
Yeah.
They're uncooked, they're natural,
Yeah.
but they do have peanuts in them.
Yeah.
So that's why. So I should throw them away, you think?
No, I'm not going to tell you to throw away yummy food, but just
take the
just
peanuts
you know,
out.
add oils to your diet. Just add extra
Yeah.
oils.
So alpha toxins is about rancidity. Like fresh ones don't have much alpha toxins, but it's the process of getting them into your body
Yeah.
and how much waiting in the warehouse and how much waiting. So it's actually a fungus that grows on the thing. So if it's fresh and
So the
clean
peanut butter
and-
industry is higher in aflatoxin.
I knew that there was a problem
Actual peanuts.
because every time I have a peanut or peanut butter, I think Oh, should I be eating this?
And you shouldn't think.
Don't think that's right. Forget about that. With the vegetarian proteins, we've got so many options now. You need to remember that most of the options in the plant-based meat and vegan lasagna or vegan chicken or whatever, it's all just crap. So don't eat it. It's just commercial, refined, processed, additive-filled, artificially flavoured crap. So if you're going to eat vegetarian and be vegan, then be healthy about it and eat real vegan food. So I've got the legumes, lentils, tempeh, silk and tofu. They're more natural if you are planning on avoiding the animal proteins. And again, your choice, but you're not going to get the good fats that we need for the cholesterols and the vitamin D. Bone broth, I've got a whole stack of stuff. I went bananas on the bone broth there, just kind of went into a lot of information for you, but really the bottom line is bone broth is really easy to make yourself. If you are eating meat, then for me I buy a raw chook. I cook it up for my dog, and because she needs that. And then I give her all the meat, and I starve and suck on the bones. No, and then I boil up the bones with some vegetables and some apple cider vinegar. The acids draw out the nutrients, and I've got a list of things there. And what they do, they look after our connective tissues, hair, skin, nails, our joints, our tendons, ligaments, our muscles, everything that you can think of. But the most important thing right now is healing our gut. So 80% of our immune system comes from the gut. So with glyphosate that has affected our food and the issues with 60% more gluten in our wheat these days and the inflammatory processes that are going on in most people, we need to heal the gut. So bone broth. If you don't want to cook it, don't. Go to a health food store and buy a jar of bone broth. Usually they're grass-fed, organic, or something of high quality. Have a glass of it. I don't, but I will put it in things. So if I'm making a stir fry, I'll add some bone broth. Last night we had fish and we mixed some peanuts with some bone broth and put it on the fish. To make a simple satay sort of thing. It was kind of delicious. So you can experiment with it and get it into your body, but as you can see there, the bones, part of our immune system comes from our bone marrow. We're building B cells from our red bone marrow. We're getting good fats and storage in our yellow marrow, so cook it up, eat it. And our ancestors all used bone broth because they didn't waste food. So, that was just the reality. They caught the beast, they cooked the beast, and then they boiled the bones. And there was a lot of wisdom in that in most cultures. I've got the list of nutrients that you're getting from bone broth as well. Superfood powders, if you like them, then add them. They're a nice little simple thing that you can do. Just about all of your green powders are, super rich in nutrients and getting down and feeding the cells. If you are worried or concerned about, post medication, then it's probably a good idea to do some heavy detoxification. Some of the people that are working with post-vaccine issues are talking about super nutrients to help detoxify. They don't know whether it's working or not, and that's just the reality at the moment because they haven't had enough time to see it. What they are noticing is that people that come in with symptoms are going out without them. So whether that means they've been able to shift the toxins out of the body, we don't have any evidence for that, but if it is reducing symptoms, then that's an important thing. So the super powders are a useful thing for our cells. They're not part of the program that I'm about to go into, but they are certainly useful for boosting you before you go ahead and have any medication. The mushrooms, I think in Elaine's little mixer you've got 5 mushrooms, is there? 5 mushroom extract. All of your mushrooms are working to enhance, stimulate and activate your natural immunity. So the mushrooms work to initiate your immune system to get it going and get it primed to fight. So it's kind of handy to have something that is working to promote, it's like your immune system's going, okay, I'm looking, I'm ready. And if we go into some of the issues that I heard some of you talking about earlier, which was shedding, I think it's wise to have our immune systems primed right now, because people are, shedding. People are shedding. There's, I saw on the news, I live at Coomera, which I'm horrified to say there's a big white enclosure being built at the front of Coomera Westfield, which is a new hub. So we were all taking bets, the family. We were going, I wonder what it's going to be. No shops, no.
Testing.
No, for jabbing. So, we'll just see what comes when there's hubs going in to promote, because we've had it easy in Queensland. So here we go into the supplement. Oh, actually, I've just missed the dandelion root. Part of the, I've got filtered water, dandelion root tea, green tea, coconut water for your electrolytes. So it is reasonably high in sugars. So just, have a glass of it or something, or even a quarter of a glass or something each day, just to, replace some of your electrolytes as we're heading into summer. You can put a little slurp of it, like cordial, into a glass of water or into a litre of water, and that will help with the absorption. So coconut water is a good thing to do. Kombucha, it's fantastic if you, it's my favourite soft drink in the world. It's not a soft drink, of course, it's a probiotic drink, really good for your gut, good for your immune system. Kefir is dairy-based usually. So again, if you can tolerate it, go for it. If not, stick with the kombucha.
Is the kombucha that is in the supermarket, is that worth buying?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, the best one they had was Bucci, the brand. They sell it at the markets and things, but it's more expensive, and I guess they got sort of
They sell it at Newmarket.
Yeah.
You can buy it in bulk too from, couldn't it?
Yes, and get a SCOBY and make your own. It's the easiest thing to make. Yeah. It's definitely not as good. The guys that were making Bucci used to have Bucci classes.
Yeah.
So and they were down at Wacol.
We can organise that. Just remind me. So Chris, who's our physio that teaches the animal massage workshop with me, his partner Sarah Lance, who wrote Chemical Free Children, was the co-founder of the company. So her ex has taken the company, but she runs these workshops, and so we can organise one.
Let's do that. Yeah, Sarah's brilliant. So yeah, that would be great. So supplements that I would say are a must, and there's a list here. Now I'm saying things are a must, but I want to remind you, I don't know your personal medical history, and so I'm just going to put a little disclaimer there that because I don't know your personal medical history, I can't know that if any dosages or anything that Elaine and I mention are safe for you or ideal for your current circumstances. So I do encourage you to see your naturopath. If you don't have one, I'm one, Elaine's one, and Ross Walter that's coming here, he's one.
So Gurmal's upstairs. Don't see me, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
But we have two naturopaths upstairs, and Leonie's fantastic. And you do remote, probably?
Yeah, I do
Zoom?
phone consults.
Is your details on there?
Yeah, my phone number, my email address is
Yeah.
on the last page.
There you go.
And my phone number is on every page.
There you go.
So stalk me. No, but probiotics are generally really safe. So probably to simplify it, I recommend a multi-strain probiotic because we have multiple strains of bacteria, etc., in our gut. So that's a simple way of doing it. Getting the fibre in and getting a healthy poo is probably one of the most important things you can do for your gut. So if you're not quite there with walking away from the toilet when you've been going, oh yes, that's what I'm talking about. You use your imagination, then perhaps book in with a naturopath to help correct a few imbalances.
Is the Inner Health Plus probiotic good?
Yeah, it is. It's actually made by a company called Metagenics, and Metagenics does has a practitioner range. So,
Sorry, Annie, could you explain probiotics and prebiotics?
yeah, so probiotics everybody knows about. They're the things that go into our body. You know, if you've had antibiotics, the bacteria is wiped out across the board. So they put in a probiotic to replace what our gut naturally has, and by the way, it's everywhere, growing to help break down food. The prebiotic is the really important part because it provides the stickiness and the ideal environment for a probiotic to survive, thrive, and grow in balance. So prebiotics come from like your root vegetables, like old foods that we used to eat a lot of that we don't anymore. So they're and also the your greens and cruciferous veggies, and your crunchy veggies, those sorts of things. Your fermented foods, inulin that Elaine was talking about, they're all prebiotic. Colostrum from mum's milk when with breastfeeding, that very first milk is the prebiotic. So it creates the ideal lining for the probiotic to live and thrive. And have you got anything to add to that?
No, that's good. Artichoke.
Artichoke, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, artichoke.
I've got probiotics I just buy at the grocery shop,
Yeah,
but I don't like it very much. But so it sits in the fridge.
right.
Is there because it's a thing that's bacteria in it and everything it's working on, is there a use by date on it?
They will all have a use by date on the
But
bottle.
is there one in reality?
What they do is they test the probiotic for its viability at a certain level. So if they say that they can, if on the jar it says 60 billion
Colony forming units.
Yeah.
CFU.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Then they'll guarantee it until the use by date, and then after
Okay.
that it could potentially start to decline.
Yeah.
But in the fridge
So-
it will last longer, yes.
Yeah.
Keeping it in the fridge.
And,
So-
and whatever we've had prescribed for our dogs or for ourselves, is it interchangeable? Even though,
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So the one that we carry in our fridge is the human one.
yeah.
But we use a lot for the dogs, and I found out this line from New Ways many years ago as a multi-level marketing business, which is now turned into Modere. And I was lecturing for them, animal stuff and antioxidants and retinol and those things they had. And I was sitting next to the guy that makes that particular probiotic that New Ways bought up the back. We were just cracking jokes through the whole lectures. And so he became a good friend. And so he sells direct to us from Enteralive. And so I've got some good stories with his stuff. I came back from Bali with Campylobacter pylorus. I actually drank some jamu from a little old lady out of a bucket. Really dumb thing to do. It tasted like river water, and I went, oh, probably it was. Which means it's fecal contamination. Campylobacter can actually cause Guillain-Barré and paralysis and nasty. And I had bloody diarrhea like within hours, and so I was like, that's not good. And I was flying home that night. I did the red eye flight, and my husband doesn't like me going away on my charity stuff. He gets really annoyed with me, so I don't tell him. so when I got home, I took a sample of poo and I straight away gave it to the lab across the street from us, and it came back, pure growth Campylobacter. But when I arrived at 6 o'clock in the morning, I ate half the tub. Normal dose is a teaspoon, so I ate half the tub as soon as I arrived. Went to work. Ate the other half at the end of the day, so I ate the whole tub in a day, and I was better immediately, like the next day. Yeah, it has a lot of inulin, so he puts prebiotics in with probiotics, and he calls it a symbiotic, meaning the two things together. Yeah. So having the food, the inulin stuff, you can buy inulin from iHerb, by the way, and it comes from Now. The brand is Now, and it's about $20-$30, quite cheap. So if you're dealing with ADHD, autism, and your guts aren't right, just buy the inulin. It's also in Milo. If you have a look at the Milo labels, they put inulin. They put inulin in it. Yeah, they put inulin for the kids.
My son will be happy.
So inulin is a sugar, and it's a good quality sugar that bacteria like to eat, and it tastes sweet. So if you're trying to fix these autistic kids that will only eat sugar and dairy bread and white bread, they will eat the inulin. It actually tastes good. It's easy to give them.
We found the powder packet of inulin at the health food shop, but the Coles ones, which I don't think that there would be anywhere as near, but the gummies, the fibre gummies, also contain
Source of
it.
inulin,
So that's what we got the kids onto, otherwise they didn't take the powder.
Does that come? Does Modest still have that product? Do they still do that? Do you know?
No, I am a member, but I'm so crap with multi-level marketing stuff.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure they do.
Is it in their dog range as well?
I don't know. I joined, but I don't, because I'm a health practitioner, I can get a lot of that stuff without going down that route. So I don't tend to
So it's
kind of
inulin,
shop
what
through
if
them.
we get it from iHerb, that's as what like that.
So if you've never ordered from iHerb, I have is it Vet 344? Most people have used iHerb, but there's a discount on if you use Vet 344 if you've never ordered from iHerb. And if you have ordered from iHerb, you can still just open another account on another email name and then still use the discount. You get, I think, 10% or something off the first one. But so I found that iHerb actually does vet all their products. They do actually look through them and make sure they are what they say they are.
Yeah, they usually have some pretty good options. Yeah. Anything you can get cheaper is good, I think.
Yeah.
Vitamin D, lots of information there. I take 5,000 or 6,000 international units daily, every day.
Does your body just expel?
Look, they do say that, like Elaine said, half of our population is vitamin D deficient, and according to my doctor, who's a holistic GP, she says it's a genetic mutation. So you could go out in the sun, get yourself arrested very often, and have a great tan, but still not absorb it. So some people are unfortunately like that. So get a test, find out what your vitamin D levels are, and then you can start taking higher amounts of vitamin D. Don't take 50,000 to 100,000 international units per day unless you are hit with a virus. Don't do that as a normal thing. That would not be ideal.
Sorry, what did you say you took 5?
Yeah, I take 5,000 or 6,000. Yeah.
Is that like
per day.
the drops? Drops?
Look, I take the little gel caps, and I do that because I don't like one of the preservatives in most of the drops. So look, we have access to all this stuff. I can set up online accounts for you if you just want standard options for looking after yourself at the moment. Then that's easy. You've got my details. Just flick me a line. We'll have a conversation so I can make sure that I'm putting you on the right things, and then I'll set up an account so that you can just go click, 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 nice and easy, and I'll set it up with a discount.
What size would your vitamin C capsules be?
The vitamin D,
1,000?
they're 1,000. You can get bigger ones.
So you take 5?
I take 5, and they're like.
Do you take them at once or over 2 of the day?
No, I just take them at no. Look, I'm the laziest naturopath you'll ever meet. There's so many rules for do this, do that. I get my supplements in my hand and I shove them in my mouth and swallow them. So, yeah. Life's too complicated to complicate when I'm going to swallow something. It's going to work better in your gob than it does in the jar. Yeah.
Yes. My doctor has said for me to do D3K2 3 times a day.
Okay, that's good.
He's a good doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor. Not many know this.
Yeah, because the
well
K2,
done.
like Elaine was saying, is really great.
Yeah.
Also, it's made in the gut. So when you have a healthy microbiome and you have a healthy stool, then you're very likely to be creating healthy vitamin K as well. So and your dark greens are going to help with that. So all those crunchy greens and the you know the big ones, the kales and the broccolis and the cabbages and the you know Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, the Brussels sprouts are good.
Fantastic.
Give them to the dogs.
Yeah,
Because
well,
they need them.
they do, that's right. Zinc, crucial for our immune system, and zinc, so vitamin D and zinc are two of the recommendations that they're using in the protocols around the world. So again, zinc, having too much of it is probably not an ideal thing, but having enough is important. So you can test your levels. My doctor tests it through the blood rather than I can do a saliva test, and we can do that taste test for you if you like. But I like to see numbers. The hippie likes to see numbers. Anyway, so that tells me, okay, I need to take this much. So the average decent capsule of zinc is about 30 milligrams. Having 30 to 50 a day is probably a good step. And again, it depends on the source of zinc. So some zinc will make you feel sick. Zinc sulfate will make you feel sick. I take a practitioner range. Again, if you want me to set this up for you, it's gentle on the gut. Sulfate always goes through the liver, so that's why it can make you feel a little bit nauseous. Whereas zinc glycinate, citrate, or gluconate, picolinate, all of those, they tend to be a little bit more friendly to our bodies. So that's a good option. And you can see I've got information on zinc. The other big one is N-acetylcysteine, NAC, I've got it written there. So NAC, N-acetylcysteine. Interesting thing about this, they discovered N-acetylcysteine was really great for reversing the effects after the jab. They discovered this over in America, and so they banned it. So I was like, oh, okay, this stuff's really good. So I've been taking it probably for about 4 or 5 years because I know it's a good thing. I take a powder, that's my preference. I prefer things that are pure and one less tablet, and I can put my NAC in my water and take my tablets, and I sip it throughout the night if I'm thirsty, or if I feel like another one during the day. N-acetylcysteine increases glutathione. Glutathione is one of the most powerful antioxidants, and it's particularly powerful for our brain. So at the moment, with the amount of stress that we're under, our inflammatory markers that are going through the blood-brain barrier and affecting our mind and our thoughts, N-acetylcysteine is a really good one to help with that. Now, just on that, there's another simple thing that you can use for increasing glutathione or N-acetylcysteine, or it's actually glutathione, in the brain, and that's grapefruit again, but grapefruit essential oil and diffusing it. Yeah. So just quickly on that, if you are using essential oils, do your research, find the most pure therapeutic options. There is one company in the world that does have all of the medical research. That's the oils that I use, and that's up to you whether you do or not. If you want more information on that, I can talk about it as well, but I'll leave it off film. Grapefruit, tangerine oil is another one. So grapefruit, tangerine, and wild orange essential oil. So they have to be therapeutic pure. There can't be any contamination, and unfortunately, unless the oil is guaranteed like that, then you are inhaling chemicals. So that's something that I will remind you that we're trying to get away from the chemicals.
Just with the NAC, I think I read something that if the person has like asthma, it's contraindicated. Is there something to do with the lungs?
Well, actually, it's very protective and helps to reduce mucus in the lungs.
Oh,
and
so if the person has asthma, it's okay?
Well, I can't state that. it would be something that I would have a conversation with. NAC, you know, if they've put out something that says that it can affect people with asthma, there might be another trigger that is coming up, so I'd have to look at, you know, other things. But it is mucolytic. Mucolytic, anything that says lytic or lysis means breaking or removing, so it's going to remove mucus. You know, like I said, it's good for the brain health. One of the issues that they've said with the graphene oxide, that's one of the adjuvants in the jabs, is that the damage that it causes and crossing over through the blood-brain barrier. They're talking about the release of prions. Now, prion is a damaged protein in our DNA. It was what, if you remember back to the beginning, or end of the 80s and the very beginning of the 90s, we had mad cow's disease. Mad cow's disease came from the food manufacturers feeding diseased cows. You know, they went, oh, they're all dead, what are we going to do? Let's grind them up and feed them to the cows, which spread mad cow's disease. Upon eating it, of course, it created this genetic mutation in our human DNA, crossed through the blood-brain barrier, and then caused holes to develop in the brain, causing like an Alzheimer's-like effect, but very rapidly brain deterioration. So Creutzfeldt-Jakob is another disease that is affected by prions. So this is something, again, it's insane what we have to think about, but they're finding that those researchers and people that are prescribing NAC you know, in decent quantities are finding that it's reducing potentially damaged DNA effects. I've got some other options for that as well. Quercetin's another one. Quercetin is the powerful antioxidant. It's known as a bioflavonoid, and it comes from the vitamin C family. It's what you find in berries. However, it's a free radical scavenging antioxidant. So it's really important right now with any medication. Doesn't matter what it is, it's going to increase the release of free radicals. Free radicals are those things that go around the body and they cause damage to healthy cells. So we've got a spike protein, and then you've got the metabolites that are coming off that are free radicals, basically. So we use antioxidants to kind of go in and mop it all up. It's like a cleaner. So quercetin, it's the most, I think it's the most expensive bioflavonoid, but it is available, and you know,
hard to give a present.
Well, not if you're a practitioner.
I just thought I had
okay.
back in stock too yesterday.
Yeah, so you can get it.
I've been taking it for about 5 years, and we get it from our natural, what do they call it? Go Vita.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we went there the other day to get some, and they said, oh, everybody's using it now because of the COVID thing.
That's right, and anything that's available on the shelf is less available because thankfully people are aware and we understand that our immune systems you know, need extra support. But there's a, if you look at what's available in the shops, there's a whole other list of supplements that Elaine and I are talking about, the practitioner range, and you can only get them through a pracky. They won't sell them in the stores, so at the moment they're still available.
They said being sweet.
Yeah.
Sweets.
So I take one that's a tablet form, and there's 500 milligrams per tablet. So it's a you know, it's a decent whack of anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic, and you can see there it's got a whole heap of things. If you don't understand what I've got there, some of the medical words, what I did when I first started teaching or even studying natural medicine was I looked up these words, and then I'd look up, what does that mean? What is an interleukin? You know, what is a I don't know, leukotriene? What is that? And it'll take you down the world of inflammation, and this is what we're really working to reduce. Vitamin C, as Elaine said, intravenous is fabulous, but because you can get the 60 grams into the body, but generally in a human oral dose, you could take at a high dose, and if you needed to, if you contracted a virus, you could probably get away with doing 1,000 milligrams, which is about, if you get a powder, it's the dosage that they recommend. If you get a tablet, it's either going to be 500 milligrams or 1,000. And you can do that every hour to an hour and a half for the whole day, and you'll probably get a maximum of 8 to 10 grams into your body, compared to intravenous, which you can get upwards of 60 to 100 grams. So, but it's still worthwhile.
Can you do that?
I can't. No, I'm not a nurse, so you have to be. Yeah.
So it has to be a doctor basically.
Yeah, a nurse practitioner, as Elaine said. But you can take it orally. You don't have to rely on. Don't think that all is lost. I can't get an intravenous vitamin C. You can still take some as long as you divide the doses. Worst case scenario, you give yourself diarrhea. So stop taking it. That's right. Vitamin A. Now, Elaine spoke about the epithelial linings and the mucous membranes and all of our tubes and organs. So that's what's being affected. The lungs are basically epithelium, and the spike protein is damaging the epithelium. Vitamin A is a protector. So you can use vitamin A. There are some warnings against having too much in pregnancy, but for the rest of us, it's not going to be too much of a problem. Digestive enzymes to, look after your digestive system. Again, stress knocks out, we have a couple of parts of the nervous system. One is called rest and digest. And while we're stressed, we're not digesting. While we're stressed, we're ready to, fight, run, or, survive. And our body's digestive system and all of the biochemicals, all of those, enzymes and acids that are being released kind of get switched off. So enzymes can be really useful for helping with that. I've got therapeutic essential oils listed there, and I've got their actions as well. Personally, I take as my anti-catchables. So that I don't, catch anything from the people that are shedding or coughing, or if there are people coughing. I'm taking essential oils for the last 4.5 years. I've been taking them and I haven't had even a sniffle. So I've added those there.
Yeah. So I joined.
Okay, so most essential oils in the world are not safe to take internally. The one that's currently coming around is an insecticidal one, not safe for internal use.
Don't drink it.
Some of them are very safe internal, and there's a lot of medical research done on the internal use. This list that I've got, frankincense, wild orange, litsea, thyme, cloves, summer savoury and lemongrass, is actually a supplement. It's actually a gel cap that is available, and so it's a simple way of taking it, and that will do all the things that it says there. It's free radicals, it's liver support, cellular support, supporting the brain, antiviral, it's working against all the stresses. That's all right. Citronella. All right, I'll wrap it up. Just with the, if you are interested in a simple option, the first block of oils there comes in a capsule. The second block comes in a blend. So cinnamon, rosemary, eucalyptus, clove bud, and wild orange is a blend called On Guard. The company sold out worldwide last year in the height of the news of the epidemic. And the other one I've got there is grapefruit. I said that for the glutathione brain support. Also any citrus oil, it's kind of uplifting, makes you feel happy. And then finally, copaiba, which not a lot of people have heard of, comes in a soft gel, comes in an oil, works for pain and discomfort. I give it to my dog 4 times daily. It manages her arthritis. But the other thing that it's listed on the TGA website for internal use for respiratory conditions. So it's but it's really good for stress. So you have to edit this. You can't put this online. It is really good for anxiety, and then of course all the immune support. So we've really geared today's talk to immunity, but just remembering that part of our strong or strength in our immune system is decreasing stress, is supporting our energy levels and sleep. Good luck. Good luck with that. But just working in the best way that you can to bring your levels back into place. Does anyone have any questions for me?
What dosage was that?
Copaiba. Yeah. The therapeutic dose that is recommended by the company is 2 drops as needed.
So I'll just say that
2 drops as needed.
Copaiba binds to your cannabinoid and anandamide receptors in your body, so it's like real medical marijuana but cheaper.
And without the psychoactivity. So there's no psychoactive effect that you would get from marijuana. It only hits CB2 receptors. It won't cause, and it won't be registered even. It's not marijuana. It's completely different. It's a resin, but it does hit the same receptors. So, it's used for all the same reasons and more. And you can look that up on the TGA website.
It's surprising that that's not known.
It's used in Brazil and those countries routinely.
Yeah, and I use it in skincare as well. I use it in my creams. Another thing I do is I make my own face creams, and then I pour as many different beautiful oils as I can in. Because, remember, not only looking after the skin, but the smells.
So she's really 80 years old.
Can you buy that without a prescription?
You can buy it through someone like Elaine, or you can just have an account, buy it online. It's doTERRA's a multi-level marketing company, which turns a lot of people off. Just basically means it's word of mouth, and that's all you are doing here today. Word of mouth got you here. So it's just having access to powerful natural medicines that you can get for yourself. So,
Every direction.
One food you didn't mention was bread.
Yeah, don't eat it.
Is it avoid it? You've been talking to my wife.
She rang me.
She must have, because
Good one,
I only buy whole grain bread, not wholemeal, whole grain, and I might have 2 or 3 slices or 4 slices a week. But it's bad news in our house, and how can I solve my marriage?
Happy wife, happy life.
Get rid of the bread.
It's very simple.
Is it bad for you?
Unfortunately, the issue these days with bread, it's not the bread that we grew up with. Before the 80s, we had real wheat, and we had healthy wheat, healthy flour, a normal sort of gluten protein level, but then they changed it to extend the yield and feed the masses and do what they did. But unfortunately, the outcome of that was 60% increase in gluten. The gluten is a protein that is known worldwide to cause issues in the gut. So your bread that you're having 4 slices of, every time you have it, the researchers say that every time you have something with gluten, it is damaging your gut lining. So remember, the gut is is the seat of our immunity.
What can I replace it with?
Well, I mean, you can
Gluten-free bread, there you go.
Yeah.
You still get your bread, but
People have gluten-free bread?
Well, I mean, if gluten is the reason that your wife wants it out of your body, I mean, bread.
She's using
Bread
it as a
nowadays.
tool.
Well, see, bread nowadays is higher in sugar than a chocolate bar. So
Is it? Oh, well, that's it.
So if it's blood sugar related, and we didn't even touch on that, blood sugar, metabolism, and pre-diabetes, and all of those issues that increase your risk of contracting different things that are going around through the air. that's another thing that would have to be balanced. But bread, it used to be a food. It used to be made from whole grains, and that whole grains don't exist, and plus it's probably contaminated with glyphosate, which is even more damaging to the gut.